History, as it turns out, has an eccentric sense of humor, especially when a highly advanced galactic civilization decides to prod the seemingly primitive species inhabiting that unremarkable blue planet tucked away in the unfashionable western spiral arm of the galaxy. The galaxy had protocols, you see, established customs, rigid methodologies forged over millions of years of what everyone smugly referred to as civilized development. Species were expected to evolve along structured, foreseeable trajectories, discover fire, invent the wheel, master space travel, integrate into the galactic community, and then dedicate the next few millennia to negotiating trade agreements over exorbitantly priced beverages. Humans, as usual, hadn't received a memo. While the rest of the galaxy species cultivated their civilizations through meticulous, incremental progress, humanity had practically tripped and face-planted into space travel, while simultaneously debating whether pineapple belonged on pizza. They developed faster-than-light travel not long after inventing social media, a feat that many galactic scholars equated to learning how to sprint before figuring out how to crawl. The Galactic Classification Board spent decades attempting to properly categorize humans, only to eventually throw up their numerous appendages in exasperation. Humans consistently shattered their painstakingly designed classification system. They were simultaneously too primitive and too advanced, too peaceful yet too warlike, too rational yet too impulsive. One particularly exasperated xenologist simply scribbled, "Species appears to operate on pure chaos, caffeine, and spite." From the galaxy's perspective, the problem was simple. Humans didn't fit any of the established models. Most species developed their military strength in proportion to their technological progress. Humans, however, seemed to operate under an entirely different philosophy, first envisioning the most terrifying ways to annihilate each other, then reverse engineering the technology to make it happen. This led to the rather perplexing classification of humans as both a pre-emergent civilization and a potential extinction-level threat. Eventually, the Classification Board was forced to create a new category solely for Earth. Approached with extreme caution, species appears to function on caffeine and questionable decision-making. The more established species of the galaxy observed Earth with a blend of horror and intrigue. Humans, somehow, had managed to craft weapons of apocalyptic destruction while simultaneously pioneering cat videos. They possessed nuclear capabilities, yet couldn't agree on a standardized power outlet design. They had reached the stars while still fervently debating flat Earth theories. The entire situation was giving the galaxy's bureaucrats an interstellar migraine. Initially, the Galactic Council's Department of Primitive Species Management had classified humans as a Level 2 civilization, somewhere between invented the wheel and discovered that pointy sticks hurt. That classification lasted precisely until someone noticed that humans had not only split the atom, but had done so primarily to see what would happen if they created a really, really big explosion. The subsequent reclassification meeting was described as pandemonium. One senior analyst had to be sedated after reviewing humanity's weapons development timeline, continuously muttering, "They did what with the dolphins?" Yet it was humanity's approach to warfare that truly baffled the galaxy's greatest military strategists. Most civilizations developed their combat doctrine through logical progression and carefully structured strategy. Humans, by contrast, appear to embrace a philosophy best described as maximum chaos. The galaxy had meticulously crafted rules of engagement over millennia. Humans studied these rules, nodded politely, then proceeded to invent guerrilla warfare, psychological operations, and something called trolling, which appeared to involve defeating adversaries primarily through relentless irritation. A flood of increasingly distressed reports emerged from various galactic departments. Department of Technological Assessment **. Species has developed spaceflight while still debating whether vaccines work. Department of Military Analysis **. Their combat simulations appear to be primarily based on games involving plumbers and hedgehogs. Department of Cultural Studies **. They fight wars and make memes about them simultaneously. Department of Psychological Evaluation **. Request immediate transfer to another department. These people are unhinged. The final straw came when the Galactic Council's Advanced Warfare Division discovered that humans had based much of their military doctrine on something called action movies. Simulations in which a single human with questionable grasp of physics could single-handedly defeat entire armies while delivering sarcastic one-liners. This led to an urgent interdepartmental memo. Under no circumstances should humans be provoked into military action. Species appears to operate under the assumption that the laws of probability are mere suggestions. Of course, there is always someone who doesn't read the memo, or worse, reads it and assumes it must be an exaggeration. In this case, it was a Drachnid Imperium, a species that spent the past 1,000 years convincing themselves they were the galaxy's apex predators. They had everything: cutting-edge technology, an imposing fleet, and the kind of arrogance that comes from never encountering a real challenge. They examined Earth, saw what appeared to be a chaotic mess of civilization, and made what historians would later refer to as the Big Oops. They decided to put humanity in its place. Their opening move was precisely what one would expect from a species that had perfected military conquest: a precise strike on key infrastructure, a grand display of overwhelming firepower, and an ultimatum demanding immediate surrender. Humanity's response was not what anyone anticipated. Instead of terror, there was something eerily close to enthusiasm. Instead of panic, there was an emotion the galaxy's xenopsychologists struggled to define, until someone translated it as, finally, a chance to test all our insane ideas. The Drachnid Command received humanity's official reply, a single sentence that would become enshrined in galactic history books as a cautionary tale about why you should always heed warning labels. "Oh, honey, we've been waiting for someone to give us an excuse." As the Drachnid fleet prepared for what they assumed would be an easy victory, the galaxy's more experienced species began backing away to safer observation distances. They had seen that glint in humanity's collective eye before. It was the same look that had preceded the development of something called nuclear-powered roller skates, a project that had, thankfully, been abandoned, but not before several deeply concerning prototypes had been built. The stage was set. The Drachnids had their flawless strategy, their advanced weaponry, and their unwavering confidence. Humanity had chaos, spite, and several millennia of suppressed ideas that had previously been deemed too extreme to actually attempt. The galaxy braced itself, tuned into its observation feeds, and prepared to witness what happens when an unstoppable force of military precision collides with an immovable object of pure, unadulterated mayhem. History, after all, has an eccentric sense of humor, and it was about to deliver one hell of a punchline. #, the aftermath. The galactic community's response to humanity's display of creative problem-solving could best be described as a collective existential crisis with a side of nervous breakdown. Entire species filed official requests to be relocated to galaxies that did not contain humans, only to discover that humans were already theorizing about intergalactic travel, just in case we get bored. Earth's classification in galactic records underwent several rapid revisions, each more panicked than the last. At first, humans were labeled moderate threat, unpredictable but manageable. This was swiftly upgraded to high threat, avoid provocation, before finally settling on a simple yet dire warning: extreme caution. Species treats physics as a suggestion. Approach at your own risk. Actually, just don't. Ambassadors scrambled to establish new treaties, with entire diplomatic branches hastily restructured around the singular goal of keeping humans happy. Military analysts rewrote engagement protocols, adding an unprecedented guideline: if hostilities with humans begin, surrender immediately. It's the only way to keep things conventional. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the general public was largely unaware of just how close things had come to escalating into an extinction-level event for the rest of the galaxy. Humanity's scientific community, however, had a different reaction. Instead of relief, there was an air of disappointment. The war had ended just as they were getting started. Classified research stations filed reports detailing unimplemented projects, with unsettling names like the bureaucratic singularity, tactical metaphysical paradox generators, and the entropy personalization initiative. One particularly disturbing entry simply read, "Asterisk concept, weaponized existential dread, prototype pending." Asterisk. Somewhere in a secure underground lab, a scientist sighed as they filed away yet another collection of reality-warping blueprints under a label that would become infamous among classified circles, just in case someone else needs a lesson in why we're left alone. The galaxy had learned something profound that day. Humans weren't terrifying because they were the strongest or most advanced. They were terrifying because they looked at the fundamental laws of reality as more of a polite suggestion than an actual constraint. And the most unsettling realization? Humanity still had so many more ideas they hadn't even tried yet. The Galactic Council established a new department specifically dedicated to preventing anyone from giving humans more ideas. Their first act was to classify several human science fiction movies as potential weapons blueprints. Their second act was to request immediate stress leave after reviewing humanity's rejected weapons concepts file, which included notes like too boring and not explosive enough. The diplomatic aftermath proved particularly interesting. Traditional galactic protocols had to be revised to include clauses like no asking humans, what if questions, and absolutely no encouraging human scientists to get creative. Several species proposed creating a buffer zone around Earth, not to protect other species from humans, but to protect humans from getting any more interesting ideas from observing alien technology. Military theorists across the galaxy found themselves dealing with an unprecedented situation, a species that had turned warfare into a creative writing exercise with practical applications. Their attempts to analyze human military doctrine were hampered by the fact that half of humanity's weapons operated on principles that shouldn't technically be possible, and the other half operated on principles that made theoretical physicists cry. The Drachnid Imperium, in particular, underwent a significant cultural shift. Their entire society had to process the fact that they had essentially picked a fight with species that kept universe-breaking weapons around just in case someone needs a really interesting lesson in manners. Their military academy added a new required course. Why we don't give humans excuses, a comprehensive guide to not being that stupid again. Earth's status in galactic politics shifted from that weird planet we're not sure about to that weird planet we're absolutely sure we don't want to upset. Trade agreements began including clauses specifically prohibiting the exchange of ideas that might give humans inspiration, with a special subsection dedicated to concepts that might make humans say, "Hold my beer." The humans, for their part, seemed to find the whole situation hilarious. They continued their technological development, though now with considerably more nervous observation from the galactic community. Each new human innovation was met with a mixture of fascination and terror, particularly when they started exploring what they called recreational physics manipulation and quantum mechanics, but fun. Perhaps the most lasting change was in how the galaxy approached human scientific papers. Any research beginning with, "I wonder what would happen if," was automatically classified as a potential security risk. Multiple species developed protocols for dealing with human scientists who looked like they were getting that look in their eyes, the one that usually preceded someone suggesting they try something interesting. The Galactic Council's Department of Species Management had to create an entirely new classification system just for human innovations. It ranged from mostly harmless to, "Oh no, they're thinking again," to "everybody stay calm but run." They also established a permanent committee dedicated to monitoring human entertainment media for anything that might give their scientists ideas. The galactic community's approach to human military technology underwent a complete paradigm shift. Instead of asking, "What weapons do they have?" the new question became, "What haven't they weaponized yet?" The answer, disturbingly, appeared to be not much. One particularly concerning report suggested that humans had theoretical plans for weaponizing boredom itself. Interstellar insurance companies added a new clause to all their policies. Active humans became a standard exclusion, right alongside act of God and quantum anomalies. Several companies went further and refused to insure any activity occurring within 10 light years of Earth, citing unreasonable exposure to human creativity. The final irony came when several formerly hostile species applied for Earth's protection, not from military threats, but from the possibility that humans might share their interesting ideas with potential attackers. The resulting defense treaties were first in galactic history to include clauses about maintaining reasonable levels of creativity and refraining from solving problems in exciting ways.